Hello YouTube, welcome back to yet another evidence to evidence video. Today we're going to do a new thing called Before You Pull, which is I'm going to provide you with information about the upcoming character to help you decide whether you want to pull for that particular character or not. Of course, this is gacha, so pull for whoever that you want. But if you haven't decided or if you are still on the fence, hopefully such video will be able to help you come to an informed decision. So for this particular video, we're going to talk about Lacrimosa, the upcoming character. So I'll be using footage from the Chinese version of the game as well as content from Chinese content creator. So if you have used any of their content, I'll provide the link to their page down below in my description. So for this video, we are going to go over the character's kit, their dependency on their arc, how important is their awakening, how expensive is their team, where they fit into the meta, and how future-proof they are. Right, so Lacrimosa is a duo from Chaos DOT, Damage Over Time, main DPS. Lacrimosa is duo from because she has both close range and long range combat. You can press G to switch between them, or you can see it right down below there. The combat style changes the animation for her normal attack and her ultimate, but her skill remain the same. So I'm currently using close range combat. I will show you the animation for her normal attack. So she attacks 5 times. And then this is a close range ultimate. Now this is a range combat. Also attack 5 times. And then this is the range ultimate. Also, all of Lacrimosa's damaging attack, including normal attack, her skill and her ultimate will apply Nightmare. Even her evasion counter will apply Nightmare. And Nightmare basically is a chaos. DOT damage will last for 3 seconds and you can stack a maximum of 10 times. On the enemy, you can see it underneath their break bar and HP bar. And you can gather them actually quite quickly. Without awakening, the damage is not actually that high, but it's still quite a big numbers because they do stack up. Right now, we're going to talk about her skill. She has two different skills. Number one is her normal form, but if you have completed her side quests, you can hold attack and you'll see this cursor. If you have bad wings, it means that you can copy the enemy's core skill. So you can copy anyone, including bosses. And when you have copied their skill, you can press E. It will replace your normal E, and you will transform into the enemy. And about Lacrimosa's E, the enemy that you can copy, I guess there's some... You can call it a Pokédex, I guess. If you go to a ability page, you click on this particular thingy, kind of like a stamp. It will show you who you have already copied. These have already copied. Then the characters have copied, and then more characters that you haven't yet copied. And then you can pick here which skill you want to remember and which skill you want to use as your E. So for example, if I click here, this is learn skill. So if I click here, now my E will be this character's special skill. And when you turn into character, you copy part of their attack as well. So you always want to copy the boss character. Also, if you are worried about your copied skill replacing your original skill, don't worry because the developer have thought about that as well. You unlock one of the Lacrimosa support skill. I'll show you directly in combat. It's easier this way. So remember, I've copied that the demons skill. So I'll use my E. I'll turn into her, and then I'll attack 5 times. You take closer attention to my cooldown bar. Yeah, it instantly after you attack 5 times, your cooldown will instantly go down to 0 and you'll be able to use your normal skill again. Alright, now we are going to look at her signature arc and how important it is. Alright, this is her signature arc, the last rose. It has a crit rate substat and then increased damage by 14%. And whenever the equipped person use cost DOT, they will increase crit damage by 60 and it can stack up to 10 times. So the maximum crit rate you can get is 60%. And it has another status, which is when enemy attack enemy that is broken, they will extend their broken period for 3 seconds. So it is extremely good for Lacrimosa, her signature. If you don't have Lacrimosa signature, you can still use the S rank. This is the black book that you get from defeating the black book. So this one, it doesn't have the crit rate anymore because the substat is attack, but attack is still good, and it increases damage of your chaos attack. And since Lacrimosa is chaos, she can still benefit from that. But granted, it is still like worse than the signature because of course it is. But it's still a good like free to play option. Right, for Lacrimosa's Awakening, her Awakening 1, 3, 4, and 5 is a direct buff to her Nightmare, her DOT damage, and they give them like extra effects like allows your Nightmare to give Lacrimosa heal, so she doesn't need to have support. That is like Awakening 5. And then Awakening 6 is a bit special because it will enable Lacrimosa to become a tactical support similar to Hotori. Because Awakening 6 basically, after you uses your copy monster skill, the 5 seconds within that, anyone who can enable Nova, Scorch, and Discord, any character that can enable these 3 effects, they can instantly activate the cycle effect without having to have full cycle energy. So basically, they turn into the Expert Zero with his E. So how it works is after Lacrimosa uses your copy monster skill, within the next 5 seconds, you can switch over to, let's say, Hanil, because Hanil is Psyche and Lacrimosa is Chaos, so they have Nova. So if you switch to Hanil and Hanil doesn't have like full energy, it doesn't matter. You switch back to Lacrimosa, it will still trigger Nova. I think I will show you a video directly from like a Chinese content creator, because even though I do have those 2 characters, I don't have Awakening 6, and because of the 5-second time limit, it's way too quick for me on my playing on Chinese server because my ping is way too high. So let's roll the video. So this video here, I'm using a Chinese content creator's video. He just used Lacrimosa's monster copy skill. So later he's going to switch to Hanyu. And then after Hanyu, he's going to switch back to Lacrimosa to trigger Nova. So I'll let you see here. Yeah, so he switched to Hanyu. Hanyu switched back to Lacrimosa. That is Nova. Then he's going to swap over to Sakiri. Because Sakiri and Lacrimosa can trigger Scotch. And when you have Nova and Scotch, you will trigger Discord. Hopefully that's a bit clearer with like a video. Alright, for Lacrimosa's team, she's only tied to one person, and that person might not be who you expect. It's not Daffodil like most people would think, but actually it's Sakiri. Because Sakiri's here, the support skill, her support skill, whenever the enemy is under the influence of Scotch, which you can get easily because you play Lacrimosa with her, so you can trigger Scotch easily. Whenever the enemy has Scotch, they take increased 100% damage from DOT. So you definitely want her with Lacrimosa because they pair very well together. And so this is the team that we really want, these two. So she definitely won Sakiri. Other than that, number 3, you want Fadia, or even Fadia just for shielding, or Hanyu for general support to get the Nova and Discord cycle effect. And then for the last character, it can be anyone basically. You can play Fadia here if you want. It doesn't matter. Or you can play Adler for shielder. Pai Zhang is not recommended because Pai Zhang is another main DPS. Lacrimosa needs to be on field for her maximum damage potential. So this one is flexible. This the 4th slot is flexible. Alright, but how about Daffodil? Yes, you can put Daffodil in Lacrimosa's team, but she's not required. What Daffodil brings to the table is she's going to break the enemy faster, and that will help Lacrimosa deal more damage, especially with her signature arc, because she deals more damage to enemy that are already broken. But is that important to Lacrimosa? Not really. Because you can find any other character to help with break, and you do have like the incantation and Nova and Scotch to help with break enemy faster as well. So if is Daffodil good for Lacrimosa's team? Yes, but is she necessary? No. What is more necessary is actually Sakiri, because that is a direct buff to Lacrimosa's damage, and Daffodil only provides an extra like mechanic on the break, and they don't really match that well together, because Daffodil's main damage comes from inside, which is when breaking enemy, and Lacrimosa's damage comes from enemy that are broken. So they kind of like a bit contradictory with each other that way. But she can still slot in here if you have Daffodil. Also, we did mention earlier about Awakening 6, because with Awakening 6, you turn Lacrimosa into a enabler for Esper cycle, especially for the 3 reaction, Discord, Nova, and Scotch. So whenever we talk about like reaction, there's one person that will definitely be mentioned, and that is Hotori. And Hotori is definitely will open a special like team for Lacrimosa, because Hotori can copy Lacrimosa's the whole double reaction thingy with Awakening 6. I will probably do a video on that when it comes to like the actual global release for Lacrimosa, because I do not have Awakening 6 here on the CN server, and my ping doesn't allow me to do a lot of things anyway. It's a very like technical and mechanical heavy team. So that is possible. Yes, it is possible for you to use like Hotori in Lacrimosa's team as well. Even if you don't have A6, you can put Hotori there. She's like, Hotori is a general support, even if you don't use her copying skill. Alright, now we're going to talk about how Lacrimosa is going to affect your run in like the open world. First, if you hold dash, you can turn into a bat and fly. The speed is not faster than Nanali's like wall climbing, so it's not really that good for like running up walls, as you can see here. But it is fun. It is a fun thing to do, and it can help you like with some of the parkour, some, not all. So that is a fun thing to do. You can turn into a bat and fly for a very short distance. And there's a second life skill for Lacrimosa that is quite important. So this one is Lacrimosa's city skill. The second one, she provides you level 1. She provides you 15% additional gains from Paw Highs, and that affects both coins and Paw coins. The fonts and Paw coins, it affect both. So it cannot go over the limit of like 1 million every fortnight. But you know what doesn't have a limit? The Paw coins. So with Lacrimosa, level 2 is like 20%. With Lacrimosa, you can like farm the highs quite quickly. So there is another important life skill that Lacrimosa does give to your like city life. So this is like, we're almost at the end of the video. Hopefully you have like provided you with some information on whether you wish to pull for Lacrimosa or not. In terms of where she sits in the meta, she is definitely, as the fate of all like main DPS, they are probably going to get power grab earlier than any support. That's just like just the facts of life in all gacha. But I think she'll be definitely, if you don't have a main DPS, especially if you don't have a team too, I would say pull for her, because she's a main DPS, especially for Chaos. And we actually don't have a main Chaos like buffer just yet. We only have Sakiri, and Sakiri buff like DOT. She doesn't buff the main Chaos damage. So in the future, this like Chaos team might still get even more complete with a support. But for now, yeah, that's the state of Lacrimosa in the current meta. Alright, that is, I think, almost the end of the video. If you have any question about Lacrimosa or about anything, just put it down in the comment section below. I'll try my best to answer. And then, like I said, I'll probably do a comprehensive like Lacrimosa video talking about the other things, like the details of the different awakenings, the console and all those things when she drops on global. Alright, thank you everyone. If you are pulling for the tomato devil, good luck for your pulls. Hopefully she come home early. And if you like this kind of content, remember to like and subscribe. Bye everyone. Have a great day.